Hello Makeup Void, I'm Trin and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm feeling a little weird, a little not normal because we are talking about the Unearthly Not Normal palette. I've already filmed 2 looks with this. Normally I film this after the first look, but I will go into it in second look while I had to redo this. Anyways, this palette is $62. This is the Not Normal by Unearthly Remaster palette. We're going to answer the question if it's worth $62 as I try to answer the question in all my review videos. So we're going to do 3, maybe 4 looks with this palette. I don't know. I feel like doing a 4th look with this palette because I feel like I'm not done yet, but we're only halfway through that. So I do want to read the usage instructions. This is a color palette, which means it has pressed pigments in it, but I really want to read this because I read it in the intro and I feel like it's kind of cool that they do instructions on the back. So carefully apply the product onto desired areas of the face or body. I don't think the pans are super big enough to apply to the body, maybe as a highlighter, but I don't really feel like there's a highlighter shade. Ensuring an even distribution for a seamless finish, use a brush to apply shades, blend colors for a desired look. When applying pressed pigments, exercise caution to avoid contact with the delicate eye area, mucous membranes, very weird to say that, or other sensitive areas. Store the product in a cool, dry environment away from direct sunlight, preserving its quality and efficacy. Love that. Love that they include it. And then also on the back they have the ingredients and warning for external ICs only. Unearthly Cosmetics, St. Cloud, Florida. And it has a batch number. The weight is 34.2 grams or 1.21 ounces. And designed in US, made in China, and it also has customer support on it. So, very nice. Love. I don't love Unearthly's packaging. I understand it's their vibe and it, like, this is what the original palette looked like. But I don't really care for their packaging. I don't care for it. So that's a immediate nitpick about it, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not my vibe. It's just not my style. So, but I am excited for this color story. I'm very excited for this color story. It's different. It's weird. It's not normal. So we're going to do 3-4 looks with this palette. Stay tuned. I hope you give this video a like. I hope you give it a dislike. I hope you subscribe to my channel. Either way, thank you so much for being here. Let's go ahead and get rolling. I'm tired, y'all. So what I'm thinking for today's look is kind of like a grungy watermelon. I know that's really hard to get out of this palette, but I really want to play with this green, maybe this one, and then take this mauve shade on the lower lash line. Is that going to be too weird? I don't know, but we're actually going to start off with the shade Basic because I use the e.l.f. I'm watching a video by Jen Phelps called about NYX, and it's all NYX, duh. But anyways, I'm using the e.l.f. Lock It Down eyeshadow primer today, and I get creasing with this primer. And I'm kind of like going a little bananas with it because because I use the Ulta eye primer literally all year, where this is still pretty new. And I've been using it so much, so I'm just like, am I just getting creasing on my lids? Is this focused? My eyes are blurry today. My eyes are blurry. So I cannot tell if I'm in focus or not. Love that for me. Anyways, I don't know if I'm just going nuts or if all of my shadows are creasing or if it's the eye primer. So I don't have a long day today. I'm not going to work today, so I'm gonna go into the shade Believer right now, which is sort of this murky green. I'm gonna place it a little bit lower. So I'm trying to set the lid today as in a tab 2. Oh, that's pretty dark. That's darker than I thought it was going to be. So I'm setting the lid today in the hopes that I don't get creasing, because I don't know what's going on. And I am like, is it my primer? Is it my skin? What is going on? So, not a long day. If I do get creasing, of course I'll report back, but I'm hoping that I don't, because I hate creasing. I think we all do. So, but I am getting quite a nice blend right from the get-go. It's pigmented, but it's not too intense, and it's just blending out beautifully. I keep going back into the pan. You don't necessarily need to do this. Like, a normal person would stop right here, but this palette is literally called the Not Normal palette, so we need to go a little not normal. We got to go a little bit weird, a little bit bananas. So I don't know how many looks we're doing with this palette yet. I'll just go with the flow. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll just go with the flow. This is such a pretty shadow. It's so pretty. And I just know when I do swatches, it's going to be so incredibly smooth. There's no kick up in the pan. That is just so nice. That is so nice. So let's actually go into Sage a little bit. In that same brush. I just want to use it in the inner portion. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. Like, the blend is so good. I don't know if it's just I'm actually setting my lid shade. I don't know if it's quality of the shadows. It's just so good. Okay, I really want to use Emerald now. I really want to use Emerald. So we're gonna pop this on the inner corner. Oh man, I just want to put this all over the lid. We gotta do a shimmer. This is more of a, I kind of went a little bit weird, because this would be more of a crease shade, and then Believer would be more of an outer corner shade. But we're going a little weird today. We're just going with flow. I am so tired. I was up till 2:30 in the morning today playing video games, and I regret nothing at all. Regret absolutely nothing. It was so much fun. And the reason why I stayed up so late was because I was having tech issues. But I still wanted to play. So once we finally got that resolved, I was like, you know what? Let's do a few rounds still and go. I know I've mentioned on my channel, like literally I did a video half focusing on it, the new Age of Mythology game. It is Age of Mythology Retold. So it's just a revamp of the original game. But they came out with a new game mode called Arena of the Gods, which is sort of just like a campaign story, but it's multiplayer. It's so good. If you all play video games, if you like real-time strategy games, it's so good. And I think the game is on sale right now on Steam, or at least it was. Okay, what shimmer do we want to do? Do we stick with greens? Do we go with a purple? Do we go with a shade literally called taupe? Let's go in the shade literally called taupe. Very smooth. I'm just digging my finger into it. Oh, that's gorgeous. No glitter primer. Set the lid. I think, not that the shadow is not absolutely freaking gorgeous, but I think if I set my lids, I need to go in with a glitter primer. It would have been so nice if I just stopped what I was doing and set a glitter primer down on this eye. That would have been so nice and so smart. Is there a no, it's literally just a taupe shade. If you are a basic girly, the shade basic and the shade taupe, just like one matte, one shimmer, and you'd be done. Do I want to add another shimmer? Do I want to add another shimmer? I think let's go into the shade Mood Swing, a little moody. I know, I poorly wiped off my finger. You can't see it. Just a little bit in the inner corner. Is it Mood Swings? Is it Mania? Can't tell the difference. I've been feeling so good lately, y'all. Like, I've been so tired, but I've been feeling so incredibly good. I feel so hopeful for this new medication that I'm taking. It's just, I'm so hopeful. and I think it's uplifting my mood. You can't really tell. I think it's because I didn't fully wipe my finger off that you can't really tell that I use mood swings, so we might use it in the inner corner, but I also think it's too dark for the inner corner, so we'll see. Anyways, I'm going to do the rest of my makeup. I really feel like I'm going to take the shade a little bit of Soft Spot and Grunge right here on the lower lash line. I think that's going to be really pretty and really not normal. So I'll be right back. I'm back. I am feeling very not normal, and I am going to apologize if this clip is blurry because my vision is really blurry this morning, and I'm trying to do the manual focus on my camera so we don't get that like weird sound all the time. And I can't tell if it's blurry or if it's my eyesight, so sorry in advance, but also not sorry because I'm too lazy to grab my glasses right now. Anyways, let's talk about what's on my lips. NYX Natural Project Companion, duh. But a lip product I literally have not used, maybe ever, and I've had it for a year. I've had this at least since December of last year, have not used it once. It is the About Face Painted Lip Color in the shade Oh Fluff. That's not the shade name. I cannot tell you what the shade name is, but it's the dark chocolatey brown. And I've been really hesitant to use it this year because it is a liquid lipstick. It's not me worrying about the formula being uncomfortable, it's me worrying about the wear time. So that's why. I'm not working today, I'm wearing black, so I'm not going to work today. And so I decided to risk it. But let's talk about what's on my eyes. So for the lower lash line, I use my Essence Red Lip Liner in the shade I Am Shookest. Is a red lip eyeliner with a green, very Christmassy. Yeah, I don't care. My eyes are really red because I'm so tired. So I'm just amplifying the redness in my eyes. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. And then for the lower lash line, real quick sidestepping, for the inner corner, I use the e.l.f. Finest Fleck eyeshadow in the shade White Hot because I wanted that bright inner corner, also under the brow bone, so I did reach into this, plus it's in a project pan and I need to use it, so I did it. Let's talk about the palette. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now, when I purchased this palette, I just bought it out of curiosity. I bought this because I was curious. And the color story wasn't really speaking to me, but I was like, it's interesting, it's weird, it's different, it's not normal. Let's get it. Let's play with it. So this palette was available on pre-order. I'll go into details in the intro. Let's fluff it for now. Anyways, I love this. So I used the shade Soft Spot, like I said. I didn't reach into this shade, but I went to the dark purple, which is called Sultry, for the outer corner, and it's just absolutely beautiful. I swear I am blurry, and I can't tell if it's my eyes or the camera. Is that better? Is that better? Let me know. I can't tell. Anyways, y'all. I feel weird. I feel not normal. I feel so incredibly good with this palette. This is what I needed on a 6 hour, less than 6 hours of sleep look or morning. This is what I needed. So tomorrow I'm really feeling like these top 3 shadows, they're just speaking to me in some sort of way. And they're not really colors that I go for, but this palette is making me feel the kind of way that I wasn't expecting to. So I think I'm going to play with these shadows tomorrow as a little forewarning. I'm going to go ahead and film the intro to this video so I can put on my glasses. Good morning. I am so tired. What is new? So today I'm still feeling like I want to go in with these top 3 rogues, but I'm worried that's not going to be dark enough, so we might have to dip into this shade. Might have to. Also these. Oh, there's also this beautiful shadow right here. These two will look beautiful together, so we might do that. We'll see. I'm going to start off with the shade Day Job, which is slightly darker than basic. I did use my Ulta eye primer today, so I'm not going to set my lids because I want to test it out, and also I want to know if I'm going bananas with noticing the creasing. Like, has my eyes changed so much in the past few months where I am getting creasing? I need to know. I'm doing this for you, and I'm doing this for me. So this shade has a little bit more pigment than basic. It's still a nice wash of color if you're not into grunge. I think this would be a really pretty shade. But also, if you're not into grunge, why would you buy this palette? Because it is full-blown grunge. But I'm so fascinated by this palette. I think that's what really got to me when I purchased it. It's just the fact that it's so weird and so different. And it's literally not normal. I think they did, like, stellar in terms of, like, branding the palette. But I also haven't seen too much of this on Instagram. I've heard smaller creators talk about this shadow. Let's go ahead and go into this. I want to go into exercise. Same brush. Fluff it. I'm gonna put that, like, right here. But, like, the brand really hasn't talked about this palette. I think they did when they announced it. But Unearthly does come out with a lot of palettes, not as much as other brands. They're more into mystery boxes, which you'll never see me buy a mystery box. Again, I think I've bought like 2 in my life, and I'm just like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Pretty much covered up day job. But I don't really care. I don't care. Love this color. Love how it's blending. It's so effortless. It's so effortless. Let's actually now go into another brush, into the shade Curious, because I'm so curious about it. We'll put this on the outer corner. Maybe we'll put it like on the lid instead of just in the crease, just to see if that can be all that I need. It is pretty dark. Maybe we'll just have like a darker lower lash line. And maybe use Curious to smoke it out. But I did turn on autofocus because I filmed the intro for this video and it was so blurry that I can't use it. I can't start off. And I don't mention it in the original intro clip, that my blurry vision was kicking my butt, and to apologize for it being blurry. So I don't want new people to come to my channel and be like, what is this bitch doing? Like, what the fluff? I also love that I don't curse and I curse at the same time. Love that. I am trying to curse less in my daily life. But it is hard when you have such a potty mouth. That's okay. That's okay. I really like this. I really freaking do. So I do want to go into Topaz, but I am going to use a brush to do this because the instructions literally say to use a brush. Can I find my glitter glue in a seamless amount of time? We shall see. I also can't see what I'm grabbing for when I'm in this position. Also, in my escapades and looking for stuff the other day, I found my e.l.f. H2O Proof Inkwell eyeliner. It's in the olive green shade, and I lost this like right away when I bought it. And I used it like a couple times and didn't like it. But I think with this grungy look, we're going to try to do it today. If I can make it work. Otherwise, we'll go over rose black. Anyways, we won't know until later after I do my makeup. So we're going to go into some glitter glue. Probably use too much. What is new? And I usually apply this with my brush, not with a finger. Look at me wanting to do something different. The shadows yesterday were so incredibly pretty. Like the metallics. But I feel like I just wanted something more from them at the same time. And I usually apply this with a brush because I want like that 2016 cut crease whenever I use my glitter primer, but that is not what happened. I gave the eyeshadows a couple seconds, or not the eyeshadow, the glitter primer a couple seconds to dry down a little bit. This is not picking up on the brush, so what are we doing? We're digging into the pan. And I'm getting fallout because I dug into the pan. This is not my shade at all. I might never use this shade again. It's gorgeous. That's not what I'm saying. Oh, and I have yet to take like pretty pictures of this palette, and I'm digging into the pan. Love that for me. But the glitter primer is making this, I think, 80 million times better. That's beautiful. That is absolutely freaking beautiful. But I don't know if I'm just going bananas or what. I'm gonna go back into curious. Okay. This is cute. It's really cute. I really like it. So for the lower lash line, honestly, I really want to go into the shade Emerald again. I really do. But then we'll use the shade Smoke to smoke it out. So I think that's what we're going to do on lower lash line. Dare we do a shimmer? Maybe we'll try this shade somewhere. Maybe. We'll see. But I also just want to put it all over the lids. Emotions is beautiful. We'll have to definitely use Emotions tomorrow. Okay. That's thinking ahead. I'm going to do the rest of my makeup. I'm going to do the lower lash line. I really want to try this eyeliner again. I really do. Wonder if it's dried up and unusable. It was kind of unusable when I first got it. We'll see. I'll be right back. Alrighty, I am back. And as I was doing my makeup, my smoothie got knocked over and spilled all over my blanket. Thank goodness I always film, or whenever I sit in this chair, my desk chair, I have a blanket on my lap. Thank goodness that I had a blanket on my lap, because it only got a tiny bit, it got a lot of it on my shirt, but mostly it was on my blanket. So thank goodness for that. So I just had to replace my shirt and throw the blanket in the washer, and I have a backup blanket. Of course, who has a backup blanket? I have a backup blanket. You should have you should have a backup blanket too, because you never know when you're gonna spill your smoothie all over yourself. You just never know. And if that's how my day is gonna go, then so be it. I just have to roll with the punches. Okay, let's talk about the makeup. So on my lips is NYX Natural and the Fenty Gloss Bomb Stick in the shade Spice Cold. This is my lip color. I'm going to replace it with the Merit lip oil today in the shade Taupe. There's no pigment to that lip oil, even though it's a brown. There's like no pigment next to it. It's fine. I love that product, so I'm going to use it. Anyways, the palette, I did exactly what I said I would. I used the shade Emerald. And then I went into the shade, which is called Smoke, and I did that for the lower lash line. I also used the ColourPop Cream Gel Lip Liner in the shade Wild Kicker. This is technically a multi-chrome eyeliner. It doesn't look like a multi-chrome, but I really like the formula and I like the longevity, so I used it. How do I feel? How do I feel? I feel enamored by this palette still. I still don't care for the Topaz shade, but that is not the product, that is the color, because that's not my kind of shade. It's just not. But I still felt, the thing is, this palette draws me into doing something different, to be more creative. Am I going to use Topaz again? Probably not, but this shade and this shade I will 100% use again. I probably won't use this shade again because it did show a little bit of pigment, but I ended up covering it all up. So for me, it was sort of a throwaway shade, so I give it out. And basic, depending on what I do next. I may or may not use basic again. But I like it. I like this so much. Oh my goodness, do I enjoy it. So what do we have to work on for tomorrow? I kind of want to do 4 looks in this video. I kind of really do. So we definitely need to use the shade Impulsive and Gemini and oh, I totally forgot about using Gemini on the lower lash line. Completely forgot to do that. So we still have a lot to do with this palette. We have so much still yet to do, and I'm just so excited to continue playing with it. So let's move on to tomorrow. Morning, y'all. Okay, we're going to do one last look with this palette because I think I can no pan left behind it, and My vision, I'm going to start off with the light pink shade, purple shade. I can't tell you what it is, but as I talk, I'm just going to throw this in the crease. So I'm going to apologize so much that if this look sucks, because my vision is so blurry this morning. Like, I had to put on glasses as I was getting ready. Like, I could not see anything. I still can barely see anything. It was one of those things where it's like, oh, you'll know when you wake up in the morning and your eyes are blurry just because you just woke up. Yeah, my vision has not, I've been up for like, what, 30-40 minutes at this point, and my blurry vision is not getting better. I can see fine with my glasses, but it's like I can't do my makeup with glasses on. And so I was like debating, like, do I just go back to bed and try to rest my eyes a little bit more, or do I just do my normal routine? And I think at this point it's too late to turn back. It's too late to turn back. Like, I can't tell if I'm in focus. I can't tell if this is blended perfectly or not. So we're gonna give some grace to the palette today and just hope this doesn't suck. So the one shade that I know I haven't used so far is like this, I don't know how to describe it, like this murky brown shade. So I'm gonna put a little bit of this. I should have just saved this for the lower lash line. This is not what I want to be using right now. But it's too late to turn back. It's far too late to turn back. Okay. So I did not notice any creasing yesterday. I had a little bit of like, I don't know how to describe it. Not bleeding. That's a horrible word to use. But sort of like, I have no idea. Like in the outer corner, it sort of drooped down a little bit, like that green shadow. But I've noticed that with other palettes and just like wearing eyeshadow. So I don't think it was the wear down or the palette. I think that just sort of happened. So I'm going to go back into the pink shade because we sort of lost it. And just going to continue blending because I can see that we lost the pink. So no shade names, no nothing. Still have not swatched the palette, but it's fine. You will see swatches, but it will not be right now. I want to use the deep purple on the lids, but I think that other brown is far too dark what are words, to add the purple and have it be prominent. So we're going to use the glitter primer again. I'm going to put it on the back of my hand and apply it with a brush. That I can tell that's too much because there was an air bubble in it. Oh my goodness, I cannot see anything. We're going to go into the light purpley shade. Can't tell you what this is called, but we're going to apply that. I have to dig into the fluffy pan. Even without glasses, I can tell that this is a very pretty shadow. There's not a shift to it. There's nothing spectacular about it, but it is very pretty. So I'm going to go into the dark purple shade and I'm gonna apply this. I really don't like doing purple looks when I'm wearing green. It takes me back to 90s Barney, and like no one is gonna point that out, like, oh my gosh, you look like Barney today. But I still don't like doing it. It's just something I don't like doing, but I don't want to procrastinate on playing with this palette because I like doing all the looks back to back to back. And yeah, I just like doing all the looks back to back to back. That's what I like doing. So just because I like to have everything concrete in my memory. And I don't have to be like, did I use this shadow? Did I use that shadow? I don't remember. Just like doing this all in one fell swoop. So all the shadows are there. Can't see anything. Gonna go back into that darker shadow. That looks way lighter in the pan than it does on the lids. Don't like that. But you see it anyways. Like, it seriously looks like the darkest brown in the palette with my limited vision. Y'all, I don't know if I can do a wing today. I don't think my vision is there enough to do a wing. So we might have to actually skip it today because I can't see anything at all. But comment down. I literally cannot see anything. Okay. Struggle bus this morning, but that's a look. I think it's cute from what I can tell. So I'm going to do the rest of my makeup. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to use the purple on the lower lash line. We still haven't used that shiny green shade. The shiny light one. Ugh, still haven't used it. Maybe I'll just skip the purple and put the green on the lower lash line and go full 90s Barney. I have no idea. I'll be right back. Let's wrap this video up because I cannot see anything. So if this clip is blurry, I have the camera on autofocus. I am so sorry, but I need to wrap this video up because I have my final thoughts on this palette. So what is on my lips? NYX XSL Lip Lingerie in the shade Expose Me because I can't be bothered to do anything else right now. That is my go-to. So eyeliner lower lash line is the NYX Epic Wear eyeliner in the shade Turquoise Storm. I'm gonna not have that in my eyeliner cup because it's getting so small. And then all I did was take the shade, like I said I would take the shade Sultry, and then for a little bit of non-normal, I can tell. Can you tell? I can't tell with how blurry this is. I took the shade Gemini, the light green shade that I wanted to use, and I popped that in the inner corner, and I think that's very not normal. I think it's cute. So let me have my glasses on so I can actually see the camera. Whew. It's like I can see. What is that? So I love this palette. I do. The ranking video is coming up soon and hopefully in less than a month, but I still have a lot to do. I still have a lot to do. Okay, so beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I said I'm not the biggest fan of the packaging. It's just not my style. It's just not my vibe. That's my only complaint. But it is like a non-normal palette, so it makes sense. Oh, and the girl in the inner corner has a purple eye look with a pop of green. So I just accidentally created this look that's on the palette. So this is not my favorite look with the palette, A, because I can't see it, and 2, because I need to confess or admit to myself that I'm just not a purple eyeshadow girly. I'm just not. There's no reason for it. I don't think it's not that it's not flattering on the eyes. It's just whenever I do a purple look, I'm just never in love with it. It's just not my favorite thing. I like blues, I like pinks, I like grays, I love greens. Purple is just not my vibe. It's just not, and I have to admit that to myself. But as a whole, this palette is everything in a bag of chips. So mine is like the purples right here and down here. I don't know. I really like this mauve shade. Like this mauve kind of gray tone purple is about as much purple as I like. This shade looks really darker in the pan, or it looks darker on the lids than it does in pan, so for me that's a little bit disappointing. It's more of a chocolatey brown compared to like the pinky purple that is right next to it, so that's a little bit disappointing. I would think that those two would go nicely together and they don't, but that's anything. I love this pop of emerald green so much. I love this shade. This shade was absolutely gorgeous. I can't remember I used it. This murky color, these two combinations were so good. So for a palette that's called Not Normal, it's definitely not normal. Do I think it's worth $62? No, because let me see, is there anything? Yes, there's just straight shimmers in this palette. There's no multi-chromes, there's no holographic shades. So I think if you're gonna be charging so much for a palette, you need to bring something additional to the table. And also I found the shadows, the shimmers, to be incredibly hard to pick up on a brush. But if you like a sheer shimmer, they're good. If you like it a little bit sheer. But for me and the pigmentation that I want from an eyeshadow palette, or from metallics, I do have to dig into the palette to get that opacity. So for me, that's a bummer, and that's why I prefer chunkier, flakier shadows, is because you don't have to dig into the pan to get that payoff. But the mattes are pigmented. Y'all saw they are so easy to blend. Like, the mattes in here, the mattes, they're easy to use, yet they're pigmented. They're so blendable. This is very beginner friendly, where I find with other indie brands, looking at you, Fancy Cosmetica, as much as I love Fancy Cosmetica, those mattes are very like intermediate expert level mattes to work with just how pigmented they are. Like, you need to know what you're doing with Fancy Cosmetica. Unearthly with Spring Magic, which I haven't used in months. Yeah, I still need to use it for the end of the year, but from memory of Spring Magic and Not Normal, there is an easiness to these mattes where you can make them intense, but you can also sheer them out, and it looks beautiful either way. I didn't notice any patchiness with this. The longevity of these shadows is very good. So overall, this is a phenomenal palette, and it makes me very, very happy to have it in my collection. So glad. I do think this was worth the 2.5 month wait, or at least 2 month wait it took to get this palette. Since it was on pre-order, I did go in the expectation knowing that it was going to take a while. I did know that going into it, so my patience was a little bit weaned, you know. It wasn't the biggest deal for my impatience. But overall, would I recommend this palette? Yes and no, because of the price tag is too high for my liking for what it is. I think if this palette was like $55, I'd be like, oh my OMG, yes, definitely get your hands on it. But $62 is just a little bit high for not getting a holographic, for not getting a duochrome, for having to dig in the pan a little bit to get the payoff that I like. It's a little bit much, but overall, I don't feel normal. I feel weird. I feel interested. I feel creative. I feel excited to continue using this palette into the new year. So those are my final thoughts. I want to thank y'all so much for watching today's video. Let me know your thoughts on Unearthly palettes, or Unearthly the brand in general. I did hear complaints that they have just raised their prices up and up and not really bringing anything new to the table as their prices have gone up, and I do agree with that sentiment. So, is it good? Is it amazing? Do I love the color story? I think I love the color story about this palette more than anything. I think because it encourages you to step outside your comfort zone a little bit more. It makes you want to do interesting creative looks. So the purple look wasn't the most creative thing I could have done with this palette. Maybe that's not the reason why I was overwhelmed or underwhelmed. Anyways, as always, have joy and bye.